When you have that type of relationship with God, no matter what you're going through, you have to acknowledge that God got you. Even though I became a mother at the age of 19, I knew and I made the decision, hey, my life is not about me anymore. I've got to make sure that I'm prepared to take care of this child. That became the sacrifices I made.
At least for former Atlanta City Attorney and Democrat Shalitha Robertson. Now, she was just sentenced to 7 years behind bars after being found guilty for pandemic loan fraud over $15 million. Robertson gave out this advice in 2023.
Oh, wait. This is her right here.
This call was from a federal prison. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. You may begin speaking now.
Welcome to Better with Brii Renee, the podcast where we get real, get honest, and get better, one conversation at a time. Here we talk all things family, faith, finances, and everything that just feels good to the soul. This is your safe space to grow, to heal, and to elevate. Because better isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. So whether you're working on your mindset, your money, or your relationships, you're in the right place. So let's keep it real, keep it light, and most importantly, keep getting better. Because better starts with you, starts with us. It starts with Better with Brii Renee. Welcome back to another episode of Better with Brii Renee. This is the podcast where we grow better together, one conversation at a time. And of course, I'm Brii Renee, straight from the A, y'all. And this episode is very personal, very near and dear to my heart. And I've been wanting to have this conversation for a very long time, but I just wasn't quite healed yet, or in the right mindset space to have the conversation. But you'll see why. Okay? That's coming up in a second. But you already know, before we start off any episode, we gotta kick it off with a better perspective. This week's better perspective is not from social media. It's just something, well, it kind of is. It's kind of like a mixture of my opinion on grind culture, and as well as some things that I've been dealing with in my personal life. I feel like we have over glamorized grinding. We've talked about that on another episode. And I think that we have also, as women, sometimes we over prioritize everyone else in our life. And especially as Black women, it is very hard for us to sit down and rest. So my better perspective today is rest is productive. Okay? Rest is productive, and it's damn near necessary at this point. You got so much going on in your life. Especially after dealing with trauma, like we're going to get into some of mine after this perspective, but rest is necessary, especially after dealing with a lot of things that you go through in our lives on a day-to-day, dealing with trauma, stuff like that. And even Jesus, God said rest on the seventh day. Okay. So rest is necessary, and I will disappear as needed. I decline invitations all the time. I don't feel the need to be at every gathering, invite, party, get together, club night, hookah night. I have gotten to the point where I damn near got a schedule of my rest. If I'm out, like I hosted an all-day event for 2 days this past weekend, and then had to turn around and work the next day. Baby, on that fourth day, I rested, okay? And I let everybody know, don't bother me, don't talk to me. I'm gonna be MIA for at least 24 hours. So for every 3 to 4 days, I need me a day of rest, because my job often requires me to output so much energy. And I think that it took me until in my 30s to realize that resting is productive, because growing up, our parents used to be like, how you sitting down and tired and you still got stuff to do? Baby, because that stuff can get done once I get up from this rest. That stuff is still gonna be there. So take the necessary time you need to rest, relax, and regroup, okay? Because you ain't no good to nobody when you are overworked and underpaid. And again, everything is supposed to be done in moderation. It's not lazy if you do it in moderation, but it's necessary to prevent emotional and professional burnout. So don't be afraid to take you a little break and rest, whether it's a whole day. I even seen something on TikTok. I think it was a therapist talking about how it's cycling, like you're cycling out your riding days. So basically you might have a day where you rot in the bed or you rot on the couch where you just look crazy, you look ugly, you're not getting up, you're not doing nothing, you maybe watch binge watching TV, or you cutting off your phone, or you just decompressing. Those are rotting days. And it's normal quite often to have those rotting days and cycle that in for people who have especially experienced trauma. So don't judge yourself for the time you need to recover. Okay. That's just my better perspective this week. Now, speaking of trauma, you guys, it's no secret. Well, maybe you've been under the rock. I don't know if you know, but I have been dealing with my mom being in prison. That's right. I'm not going to go into too many details of the case, but she was sentenced to 7 years in prison, fed time, for a PPP loan that her accountant filed in her name. And get this, okay? She returned every dollar plus interest back to the government within 3 weeks of receiving the funds. I honestly think that the turning the money back in when she found out that something was done wrong was the red flag for the government. But needless to say, we went through a very lengthy, it was like a 2-week trial here at the federal courts here in Atlanta. This was back in December, almost 2 years ago. This December will make 2 years. That was the most horrific thing I had ever been through in my life. I don't know. I know it's a lot of people out there that have dealt with maybe a loved one, a family member, a parent, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, somebody. We all kind of know somebody who's been in jail at least once, right? But I don't know if you actually sat through a trial. Baby, my heart goes out to anybody who has ever dealt with that. They will tell you that it's the most grueling thing that you can ever go through. First of all, it's so dehumanizing. Right? I'm watching someone who, my mother has been a public servant her entire life. She's run for public office. She has been a city of Atlanta police officer. She has been a public defender. She has been a city attorney. Like her whole life, I have watched her serve her community, not only her loved ones, family members, like I said, in public office, but she's also served people, her employees. She's helped them out in their times of need. As a Delta Sigma Theta, she was the president of her line and even the president of the entire Delta Sigma Theta organization. I'm not a Delta, so I don't know what it's called, but she's over like the entire organization. She came in the court and spoke on my mom's behalf and spoke about how my mom every Christmas, adopted families and I didn't even know she was doing this, was adopting 5 to 10 families a year, making sure that the kids had something to open up on Christmas. Like, this is someone who I've seen my entire life, like, beat into my head, do the right thing, live an upright life, be honest, be truthful, live with integrity. And to see them go down for something that they did not do and to watch in the court them try to annihilate someone's character, it was so disheartening and very hard to just witness. And this is somebody, like I said, who, the details of the case are very public, so you can find them on your own if you want to do your own research. The accountant reached out and actually took the stand and said that she did it and signed my mother's name on the paperwork. And they still tried to paint this woman to be a monster. It was so hard to watch. Like, it really broke my heart in so many ways. It made me realize that, oh, wait, this racism that we know and speak of is not just something that used to happen. This is still going on. Like, they literally were just trying to tear this woman down. Like, as a Black woman who has built companies as her own and been very successful, they wanted to discredit her in every single way. And so it made me it made me more compassionate to people who go through these things. Like, even when the Diddy trial stuff came up, and mind you, we got tapes. They have this man on tape doing things. I still had a different newfound level of compassion and empathy for his children. If nobody else, the children that had to sit through this trial, because, like, family, you gonna show up for your family. You know what I mean? You're gonna be there for them at these times. If you truly have like a strong or close-knit family, you're gonna show up for people. So knowing how hard it is to go sit in court First of all, I don't want to go to court for my own self, okay? I don't want to go to court for a traffic ticket, let alone sit through somebody else's court case. To sit through that, but then also be a child and witness them just degrade your parents' character. Because even let's say in the Diddy case, like, of course he's done some horrific things, but that's still somebody's dad. You know what I mean? That's still somebody's parent. That's still somebody's hero. And that's how I felt like watching my mom be torn apart for something that is a simple mistake. Because I feel like, how many of us out there have gotten our taxes done? Do you double check what your tax preparer say? Because I don't check what H&R Block said. I don't know. I trusted HR Block to do their job. And to be honest, so it really opened my eyes like, wow, ignorance is no exemption from the law. That's what I learned through all of it. And that they don't care. Like, even with her giving every dollar back plus interest, it was like, oh, they still want a headline out of this. This was all over the news. It was all over social media. They lied in all of the headlines. They put my mama up there. The crazy part is, y'all, I have to find this. On social media, they posted my mom and was like, she got a PPP loan and she used it to buy this pink Rolls Royce. And it was like, if anybody know my mama, she ain't bought shit pink. One. And two, she been buying Rolls Royces. I think her first Rolls Royce she got back in 2014, 2015. So it was like, no, babe, she been had that. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is, I actually know the lady who owned the pink Rolls Royce. And she commented, cause it's like a very another popular girl, entrepreneur, CEO here in Atlanta. She commented like, why y'all got my car in this? It was just the way they will go, the media will go to the extent to lie and just to get clicks, likes, and a good headline, salacious story is disgusting. And like I said, to see that it was sometimes even our own people, it was our own brands, like the spiritual world and the shade rooms, these brands and companies that are ran by Black people that are just publishing lies and clickbait to get out there to get another, viral post was crazy. And then just to see people who I thought were our friends or people that we were close to commenting under the post. Like, everybody in Atlanta scammers, huh? It's like, first of all, you know her and you know that she would never do nothing like that. She's probably loaned you some money or she's probably helped you out. It just has been so eye-opening on so many levels. And it made me realize that my mom is human. She can trust. She's like, again, she's made so many right decisions. I never thought that she could make a wrong choice. And for it to be something as simple as trusting the wrong person, I think it made me so angry with her. I'm just being honest, I was so mad because I'm like, damn, you supposed to be so smart. Why would you let this lady trip you up and do something, like have you sign, or she didn't even sign it, but like, how could you trust the wrong person with your information, bro? Like, you're supposed to be smarter than that. But then again, it's like, my mom is older. She never knew what a PPP, all this stuff just came out. So it was frustrating. And I have had to dig deep and go through so many different emotions, from a healing perspective of forgiving her for being human, forgiving her for trusting the wrong person, and now showing up for her in a way that I never thought I would have to show up for her, being mad at her for, I guess, being the matriarch of my family, because everybody depends on her in my family, and she has been the rock and foundation of my family for so long. And I'm her, so much like her and her daughter, I feel like everybody put so much pressure on me of expecting me to now fill these shoes of her. So now I'm mad because it's like, ain't nobody told you to be this strong. Cause now they expecting me to be this strong. And I don't know who the hell they think I am, but I'm not you. But it has forced me to create so many boundaries in my family, have so many honest conversations with myself, to dig deep and find my own strength, and to find the will to keep going. Cause I ain't gonna lie, y'all, this shit knocked me down. Okay. Even to the point that how they took clips of during a trial, they took clips of our Mommy and Me podcast and played it in court to try to assassinate her character. So I don't know if y'all seen the clip. And if you haven't watched Mommy and Me, go back and watch Mommy and Me podcast. It's still available everywhere. Those episodes are really good. And you can really, truly see the depth of her character through these episodes and her honest banter and conversation. But one of the clips, we're talking about gentle parenting. And she says, I run my house. Oh, wait, this is her right here.
This call is from a federal prison. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from Shalitha Robertson. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. To block this call, you may begin speaking now. Baby?
Hey, Ma. I'm sitting here recording my podcast, talking about you. Do you have something you want to say to your fans of Mommy and Me or anybody out there listening?
Well, I just want to say hello to everybody, and as most of them know, that I've been away dealing with personal issues, but I do look forward to getting back with them soon. I want to personally thank one of them for their thoughts, their prayers, and their well wishes, and just know that I look forward to sharing every intimate moment of this journey, but be assured that I'm not lost sight of the fact that I'm a child of God. And no matter what, He and He only holds my future. And in my absence, I just want everybody to stay tuned, stay connected, keep those prayers coming, and most of all, keep God first.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're proud of you, and you sound like you're in good spirits.
I am. I'm in very good spirits because I know that, we all in life go through journeys, and we all have crosses to bear, and we don't get to dictate which one we bear, at what time we go through them. But as long as we know first and foremost that, we are children of God and He chose that moment for us. And we know that He'll bring us through it. I tell anybody that if God were to line us all up and tell us that we were about to go through a very trying time in our lives, most of us would probably run to the back of the line and say, no, Lord, not me, send somebody else. And so when you are aware and you are connected or rooted in your faith, you have to stand strong and know that, building you up for something greater, it's a test of your character, faith. So I just hope to pass the test.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? You just spoke about your character, and I kind of was just talking about how hard it was to watch somebody like you who's been a public servant your entire life, and you've been there for people publicly and privately.
Oh, it was very humiliating to be drugged through the mud, to be lied on, to be ostracized, to be talked about, But at the end of the day, I often tell people, Jesus Christ was perfect. Look what they did to Him. So who am I? I'm not worried about my reputation because the people that know me, they know me. They know who I am. They know what I stand for, and they know, everything there is to know about me. So I'm okay. I don't care about what the naysayers say. I don't care about people's opinion. Because like my mama would tell you, nobody's got a heaven or hell to put me into. And if we are really, 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 really in tune with what happens in our world and our society, there are more innocent people in jail than there've ever been, and there will continue to be because we live in a system that's not right. If everything was perfect, if everything was right and people did right by others, then we wouldn't have the criminal justice system that we have. So the life that I've lived and the legacy that I intend to leave behind isn't changing, hasn't changed, and this experience won't change it. It will make me fight even harder. I've come to meet some amazing people. Some stories that, I was just, floored about. I would not have believed my journey unless I was living it. And so, having had this experience has only given me strength to keep fighting. I'm not going to give up. I know that we're all put here on this earth for a reason. Ultimately, it's to glorify God. It is to do something that He put here for us to do. So as long as we maintain that faith, maintain our strength, our determination.
This call is from a federal prison.
We maintain our determination to follow Him. Hey, as a pastor would say, as long as we've got God on our side, He's more, than the world against us. So I'm not worried.
What's the first thing you want to do when you come home? We want some real food.
Oh, yes. I plan to cook a feast of all of my favorite food, all of you guys' favorite food.
Because I want some of your broccoli cheese casserole.
But what about the broccoli cheese casseroles, the lamb chops, the fried chicken, collard greens, the oxtail, the shrimp and grits, the fried fish, you name it, and it will be well seasoned.
Well, what's one of your favorite meals in there? Because I know y'all got some good jailhouse meals.
Oh, let's see. One of my I tell you what it is. I buy the teriyaki salmon, and I mix it with corn and cream cheese and jalapeno peppers. That's my favorite. And sometimes I put it over mashed potatoes. Sometimes I just eat it that way. But that's one of my favorites. Other than that, not a whole lot. And, I tell everybody, as a kid coming up, anybody that knows me know two things I don't eat. And one of them was beans, and the other was rice. Well, I tell everybody, God has a funny sense of humor.
Cause now you eating rice and beans.
I don't have a choice but to eat rice and beans every day. So when I got here, when I was first arrested, I laughed because I said, Lord, you certainly have a funny sense of humor. All the things that I didn't like, I wouldn't eat because I had a choice. I'm forced to eat because I don't have a choice. So, I've taken it with a grain of salt. I've learned to put a little seasoning on those beans, eat them when I have to, and keep it moving. And keep it moving. So we learned to appreciate the little things, or I would, my meals was, most of my meals were eaten out. I would, then foolishly, I say foolishly, but because I could, hundreds of dollars on a meal. Now I spend hundreds of dollars a month, on commissary. So things have a way of getting your attention and humbling you and making you understand what's really, really important in life. Things are not, people are, family, relationships are,
Yeah.
I find disheartening and more than anything here is that there are a lot of ladies that are dealing with their own personal issues, but it's sad when they tell you or when you talk to them, you find out that they don't have a support system. They don't have families, or they don't have anybody to call, or nobody to write them a letter, or nobody to just say, hey, we're thinking about you. I am so grateful for all the well wishes and the letters that I've received from the support, my sorors, my prayer warriors, my family, my friends, people that know me, know who I am and what I'm made of and what I stand for, have not wavered. So I'm grateful for that, and I look forward to getting back to my life, very, very soon. And no matter what, no matter this experience will not change who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. Have I been lied on? Yes. Have I been incarcerated for something I didn't do? Yes. But I'll let the court system handle that and deal with that. But as far as my heart, my mind, and my spirit, it will not change. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change what I stand for. And I look at it as if God is just giving me an opportunity to rest, because I would tell people oftentimes, my mama would tell me all the time, John, you work so much, when are you just going to sit down and rest? And I would always jokingly say, well, Mama, I'm going to rest when I'm dead. Well, God kind of had another plan. know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're going to get some rest now. So I've been resting, so to speak.
That's what I tell everybody too. Like, you would have never sat down and got no rest. This is your
Now,
well-needed rest.
yeah, this is my resting period.
And I know it's driving you crazy.
Well, I've learned to appreciate doing nothing. I've learned to play pinochle, and I have learned to actually lay bricks, as they say. I've taken a class, and I've learned to play masonry. So that just goes into my other many talents, bucket of talents. So I've been resting, and I intend to hit the ground running. I've got a story to tell, and trust me, honey, this story is unbelievable. I want to just caution everybody out there, just, be a little bit more cautious and a little bit more aware of who your friends are. As old people would say, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be blind and be blindsided, and think that, you're so trusting, of a person to believe, they won't do this to me. There's no way. Yeah. People are vicious. People are cunning.
Yeah, they did it to one person.
They'll do it to you. And you know what? I would tell anybody that know that, you can never know a person too well. People that you trust. And let me tell you something too I've learned. People are jealous, not necessarily.
This call is from a federal prison.
People are jealous of the way that you treat others. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and it may go over some people's head, and some people may get it. But my problem is because all of this, I believe, is a result of me not seeing the signs or rejecting the scorn of a woman. If you get my drift, you know exactly what I mean. And it took me coming to prison to understand that, and I never really paid it that much of attention, but people want what they can't have oftentimes and will do anything to get it just because of the way that they see your interactions with other folks. And I want to break that down to you at a later point. But when you are close to other people or in a relationship with somebody, and I used to think that this should only happen in heterosexual, but let me be very transparent. When a woman sees how you treat another woman, I'm talking strictly to, same-sex relationship, be careful. Because that person that you think is your friend, and she professes to be totally heterosexual, sees the relationship that you have with your partner, be mindful. Because there's some underlying jealousy, spewing, and if you don't buy into it, it can very well come back to haunt you in the butt. Okay?
That tea too hot. We gotta save that for later. We can't get into all that. Yeah, that's a whole episode in itself.
That's a dirt. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, just know that I am in good spirits. I do anticipate hearing, something soon. I'm prayerful. I know that God's going to bring me through this. I know that He holds my future. I have no doubt that, I'll be back in the saddle, stronger, better than ever. And as Yolanda Adams say, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
I listen to my music every day, and there's a song in my heart that I have to hear every day. That's by Yolanda Adams. I'm going to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So my time is winding. Out to pick off. They only give you about 15 minutes a call.
Yeah.
But just know that you're loved, you're missed, and I'm okay.
That you loved and you missed, and not only your family, but you got a whole community of Mommy and Me supporters and people that just have been, even through the club, they all love and support you.
I do, and I can't wait to get back to them. So I'm about to wind down in about 20 more seconds. Just know that I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay?
I love you.
I love you too, baby. Bye-bye.
Looking for the perfect space to bring your vision to life? Welcome to Visionaire Production Studios, where creativity meets capability. With over 10 dynamic sets, including a fully equipped kitchen set, we're built for creators, brands, and dreamers who don't just want content, they want cinema. Whether you're shooting a podcast, cooking show, campaign, or content series, we've got the space and the team to help you make magic and bring any vision to life. If you can see it, we can help you shoot it. Let's turn your vision into production at Visionaire Production Studios. Oh, that's some tea. She never said that to me, even. And you know what? Now that I think about it, as the story develops, that make a lot of fucking sense. But we ain't gonna get into all that. Like I said, we ain't gonna get into all that. We ain't gonna get into all that. We ain't gonna get into all of that. Oh, that was good. That was good. I can't wait till she come home, y'all. We're going to have some Mommy and Me episodes, but we're going to break it down. It's going to be 4-5 parts because we got to go through the whole thing, okay? But I don't even know, where was I before? I think we were talking about, we were talking about Mommy and Me. I was telling y'all how there was this clip that went viral on social media, and it was about gentle parenting. And of course, as any black mom who, if you grew up in the 90s or before that, they didn't know what no damn gentle parenting was. And they were very stern about, I'm not one of your little friends. You're not finna talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm the superior in the house. You do what I say do. This not a negotiation, that type of thing. And so the clip went viral because she says, in my house, I run it like a dictatorship. You do what I say do or else. And I was like, well, now they have this thing called gentle parenting. And she was like, oh, I am gentle because you survived. You made it, And it was if you watch any episodes, me and her joke all the time. And we have this back and forth banter. Child, why they took that clip and tried to play it in court, the judge did not allow them to play the clip, but he did allow the prosecutor to transcribe it and say word for word what she said. But he tried to use that as she's this mob type figure that controls everybody. And of course he's a white man. So he's painting this picture like that. But it's like, baby, that's every black mama in America when it comes to their kids. And my mama stood on that in court when they questioned her about it. She was like, yeah, I was talking about being a parent. And I would not advise any parent to let their children run their household. But it was stuff like that really disturbed me in court. And I remember even one of the ladies, because in the courtroom, you've seen it, if you watch any trial, there's the defense side where the family of the defense person is behind them. And then there's the prosecutor side. And then there's these people who work for the prosecutors who dig and find this information, right? So there's this lady that's sitting on the prosecutor side during this trial. And one day she walks up to me afterwards and she was like, oh my God, Brii Renee, I'm a fan of yours. I've heard you on the radio. I love your podcast, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, thank you. She was like, keep doing what you're doing. I support you. That was the conversation that was had. And then I guess the prosecutor team asked her what she was talking to me about. And she had to tell them the next day is when they brought up that podcast episode in court. It was almost the last day of trial. So they had never mentioned this podcast up until then. So it was her fake, I don't know. I can't even say if it was her being a fake fan. It just really irked me, and it made me be like, wow, every single thing you say and do, they will try. Even with the music artists, they trying to use their lyrics against them in trial. And it's it made me feel like I don't want to speak publicly ever again. I honestly was so turned off and so traumatized. I was like, fuck a podcast, fuck the radio, fuck any of this shit. Because anybody who's ever followed me knows that I've always tried to make my content I've always tried to serve through my content of having better conversations, helping us grow better together, doing, radio with having topics that help the community, like everything I'm trying to do. And I'm like, if they could do that to somebody who's living it, they will do it to me. I'm no different. So it made me it silenced me for at least 1.5 years, 2 years. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't until this podcast better that I got the confidence to step back out and be like, no, they can't hold me down. They're not going to hold me down. I'm not going to allow them to silence me and take away my gift and not use this platform to help others. This is exactly what they want to do, and I'm not going to let them win. They've already taken this person out of my life. They're not going to take my gift and talent from me either. I know it is so bad. I am so sorry. So yeah, it took some time to get the confidence back up to step back in the space of speaking. And especially just processing all of this. Y'all, when I heard the judge say first of all, he didn't say 7 years. He said 82 months. I said 12, 24, 36. I don't even know how to keep counting after that. How many years is that? I literally gasped and like in the courtroom, I was so loud, I started screaming and crying like I lost it. I was floored. The marshals were like, if you don't be quiet, we're going to kick you. We're going to hold you in contempt of court. My friends had to pick me up and drag me out of the courtroom. And if it wasn't for Ernestine and Chi-Chi, they sat with me. Thank God I had good friends. They just pulled up to court. I didn't even ask them to come, but they heard the judge say out of his mouth, we are going to make an example out of you. Literally said that. I was like, nobody would have believed me had y'all not been in here and heard him say that. Y'all see what's going on in here. But had it not been for them to lift me up and pull me out, y'all, I might have would have lost it in that courtroom. I'm not gonna hold y'all. It really made me want to put my hands on somebody because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. This can't be right. So yeah, it just reiterated that the system is not a system of justice. It definitely dehumanizes us, degrades us throughout the entire time. I remember the judge also saying to her, they arrested her the day of the trial, the end of the trial. They said because they believed that she would have connection to goons. My mama said on the stand, well, what's a goon? She didn't even know what that was. But they arrested her, and that's so unlikely or unheard of. Usually you get to go home after the trial and you come back when it's your sentencing date. They made her go in immediately a week before Christmas. So now Christmas is canceled, babe. Christmas is canceled. Not only did we lose the trial, but now my mama gone. I didn't even get to hug my mama. The last time I got to hug her was in court. That's crazy to me. 2 years ago. So normally you would be able to get to go home until sentencing. Sentencing was then 6 months later. So now sentencing comes around in the following May. We're like, okay, she did 6 months in prison. They're going to be, they're going to let her go. How much time do you want somebody to serve for some money that y'all already got? Justice has been served. You trusted the wrong person. You could go home, right? Baby, we went in there and they said 82 months. That's what I said. When my friend said to pick me up off the floor. That was the part. I was like, oh no, this is crazy. 87 or 82, it was something like that. But if it boils down to 7 years. If the feds, they require you to do maybe 40%. It's 10 months to every year type of thing. I don't know how they work out the math, but according to it, as of this October, she would have been in there and served 2 years already. So hopefully she will be home soon. We also are, waiting for some other things to go through, fighting for an appeal, but it's just been it's so disheartening. Even the treatment that she received and has been receiving while in prison. There was the 1 month, it was a little bit over a month. They didn't even give her high blood pressure medicine. And if you know that if anybody has dealt with high blood pressure, your hands swell up, your feet, your face swells up. You can literally have a stroke from high blood pressure from not taking your medicine. And they just refuse to give her and administer her medicine for over a month. It's regardless of if this person is guilty or not guilty or criminal, not criminal, they're still a human at the end of the day. And why would you not take care of them and give them basic medical attention? She's received 3rd-degree burns while being in prison. with very little to no medical care at all. And it's just like the system has not only failed us, it fails millions and millions of people every year. And I want to give y'all some statistics too, because at first you might have been like me who thought, oh, I ain't never gonna have to deal with no shit like this. Like, I don't date drug dealers. I don't date dope boy. I don't date hood niggas. I used to let people know up front, like, hey, if you do something illegal, we can't date because I ain't holding nobody down. And again, like she's just said, God got a funny way of humbling you because, baby, now you got to hold somebody down. It's your mama and you ain't going to turn your back on her. You know, but I was doing some research and they say roughly, this is all Googleable statistics, so I'm not making this shit up, but it's real. Roughly 1/3 of black men will spend time in prison in their lifetime, which is 8 times higher than white men. 8 times higher. That's at least some time in prison, right? Then they also say over 2.7 million children in the U.S. have an incarcerated parent. 2.7 million. That's 1 in every 27 kids. 80% of those kids are dealing with a woman or a mother. So 80% of 1 in 27 kids are dealing with their mother being in prison. You know how important a mother is? Important a mother is. Even at my big age, my mama is still so important. Y'all know the women are the backbones of our communities. 1 in 27 kids, that's a classroom. In every classroom, at least one person is dealing with that. 1 in every 2.5 black women, that's over 6 million people, y'all. 1 in every 2.5, it ain't even the whole 3 of us. 2.5 of us, 1 in every 2.5 of us currently has a family member behind bars. Okay. And then I don't know if y'all realize, because again, you think if you're not the person going to prison, you don't have to deal with this. But this is a statistic, a single incarcerated individual typically affects a minimum of 10 people in their community, whether that's children, parents, extended community, employees, etc. Because take my mom, for instance. She has children that she is being there to support, a whole community of podcasting, of people. But more importantly, my grandmother, who's elderly, blind, and cannot support herself. My mother is her primary caregiver. That's her parent that's depending on her. My mother ran a successful company with over 40, 50 employees. Those people were affected because now there's layoffs, and you just don't understand the magnitude of one person's life and the ripple effect that it causes in an entire community. It really forced me to grow up in so many ways. Thank God I was grown, because I don't understand how I would have been able to deal with this had I been in high school or younger. Because they say children with incarcerated parents are more likely to face trauma, PTSD symptoms, anxiety, depression. They struggle academically, and they fall into the foster care system if you're not old enough. Thank God I was grown. Thank God I was grown. Because then the statistics get even worse for what happens once you get into the foster care system. Like, and I struggle with the trauma, the PTSD, the anxiety and depression. And I'm in my 30s. So I just, like I said, my heart goes out to anybody that's dealing with this, whether you are the person that's in prison or the person that's outside supporting, or a parent or a child that's affected by this, because it's so many things that come with it. Like I said, the public shame and the guilt that I felt like I can't speak out because the headlines are all crazy. I felt, like I said, silence. Anything I say, they're going to try to use it against us. People criticizing her, tarnishing her name, her legacy. It just was so hard. And then once the dust settles and I'm like, okay, I done went through all the emotions. Now my family is depending on me. And as a woman, you know, you're going to stand up and put your big girl drawers on, and you're going to step up and do what you got to do for your family. But the reconstructing of our family has been so hard, because now I'm here having to help keep things afloat. And then you have this guilt of, you want to keep things as normal as possible for when they come home. But then you got to make certain adjustments so that you can support it's just so difficult. And I think that, like you said, like a lot of people, thank God we are here to support her and be that system for her, because some people in there don't even have that. But we are like trying to keep things going so that, hey, when you come home, you have something to come home to, or things aren't as crazy or as different as they could be, with you dealing with this. And I think a lot of people on the inside don't even realize the sacrifices that are being made on the outside when you do have a system that's supporting you like this. Because it's been times where I done bumped heads with her. Because anybody, again, especially a woman, if you have dealt with a man in prison or a family member in prison, they think you they damn assistant. Like, it's been times where she has called, hey, I need you to, especially when she first got in there, hey, I need you to call this lawyer and tell the lawyer this and da-da-da-da. And it's like, hello, how are you? Ask me how I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing, what day I'm having or anything. I've had to have that conversation with her plenty of times. Don't just call me barking orders about what to tell your lawyer. Call this person and do this for you and handle this business, or you need this amount of money. You don't know what is going on. So we've had to have those conversations too, because when they get in prison, now they can't move, especially somebody ambitious and about their business that she was. They can't move how they normally move. So now that's a rude awakening for them. They got to depend on other people, and the pressure they putting on you is like what they would put on themselves. And then you still got your whole life out here that you got to live on top of handling business for them. So yeah, there's so much stress and weight that comes with that, because like I said, you're trying to keep things afloat. The financial stress. You're trying to make sure you keep money on their books, trying to keep their bills paid, trying to keep, you know what I mean? Just all these different things, the stress of worrying about, are they going to give her the right care? Where is she? And just the PTSD of it. Like, I've had so many nightmares of being in court and just replaying that. And then also the PTSD of never missing a phone call. Like, because as y'all seen, we get literally 15 minutes. I don't know if y'all know, but they can't even call every day because they get a certain amount of minutes a month. And it really has cut in half since she's been in there, because she was allowed a little bit more time, I believe at a different facility that she was at. They were given more time, but then when she moved to this new facility, they cut their time in half. So it's like she can't even call every day. This is somebody I talk to every single day in my life. Every day of my life, I talk to my mom, even as an adult. People used to be like, damn, your mama really call you every day. My mama really called me every day. And if I didn't answer the phone, she was going to blow my shit up. Again, we got a clip about that on Mommy and Me where we joked about it. But I really took it for granted, because now I hear from her maybe once, sometimes twice a week for 15 minutes a call. And it's so short. That time runs out so fast. It's hard to fill them in on your life and make sure that and lift them up and keep them strong mentally and emotionally at the same time. It's so difficult. It has so many layers to it. And I can't wait till she comes home and we can peel back each layer of all these different things together. And I just wouldn't wish this on nobody. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I really feel like if you're not a murderer, I don't feel like you should be in prison. The way they treat people in there, you really, or rapists and murderers. Can you say rapists on the internet? I don't know. Bleep that out. Rapists and, people who unalive people, I think are the only type of people who should be in prison. These, like she said, some of the stories that she's told me about women that are in there, it's like, I cannot believe the government did that. But we know that most prisons are privately owned. They receive these big contracts from the government, and it's at the end of the day a money thing for them. They're getting paid per prisoner, per month, whether they're treating them right or not, whether they're feeding them right or not. A lot of people have dietary restrictions. Obviously, she has high blood pressure. There's certain things she should not be eating. But do you think they give a damn? No. They don't. And then the process of even going to visit these people, it's like they want you, the system is set up for you to abandon these people. They don't want you to be able to see them. They don't want you to be able to talk to them. That's why they cut the times, the minutes, and limit their phone conversations. They don't want you to have access to these people. They want you to forget about these people so they can become slaves of the state, and they can keep them incarcerated and use them without anyone on the outside caring. And as somebody who's been through this process, I love my mama to the death of me. But even me, there have been times where I have been like, I could see how somebody could just say, fuck it, and throw their hands up and forget about somebody, because it would be easier. It would be so much easier than trying to fight to get the call or driving up to East Bubblefuck, wherever, like the prison where her prison is in West Virginia. It's actually the same place that Martha Stewart stayed. If you wanted to go back and watch her documentary, she could talk about how they called it Camp Cupcake, and they thought that the feds, you were going to get fed steak and you're going to have all this special treatment. But even Martha Stewart said it's not like that. Okay. I have visited myself. There's nowhere for you to even fly into to get a plane to go see this person. This is a 9-hour drive. I had to drive. Me and my sister, the kids, we packed up 9 hours to drive there in the middle of the mountains. Like even once we got to West Virginia and just getting to the actual facility was difficult. They're making every process of this so hard. Then when you get there, not only can you not just walk in at certain times, of course, but they're nitpicking everything about you all the way to what you're wearing. So pants can't be tight. You can't wear brown, green. You can't have on too much jewelry. You can't bring in outside food. You can't bring in your cell phone. Only thing you can have is your ID. Like they're treating you as an outsider like you a damn criminal, to the point that I could see how you don't want to even go. And it was very hard. I blogged that a little bit about, the emotions that I felt growing up into that point in one of my vlogs. If you want to take a look at that, it's up on my YouTube page of like going to visit my mom in prison for the first time. But that night before getting on the road, I was like, y'all, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to go see her like this. Then to get in there, you can't touch them. You can't sit beside them. Like, it was just like, damn, I'm doing all this to still not be able to hug my mama for real or be close to her. It was hard. And even when she was in the prison here before she moved up, we would have to wait and schedule times to sit through a glass window and talk on the phone. We could have did this on the phone. Like they make it so that you forget these people so they can become slaves to the state and they can own them and get cheap free labor. And at the end of the day, America, it's all about $1. It all boils down to some money. Somebody's making money off of each and every one of our loved ones that's in prison. Somebody is capitalizing off of it. They're giving them free labor for goods and things that we use in our everyday lives, from license plate all the way down to, like she said, she's learning how to lay bricks. They're getting cheap labor from these people. This is legalized slavery. That's what it is. And that's why it's no wonder why our people fill up the prisons 8 times more, according to statistics, 8 times more than whites and other races. Black and brown people are vastly incarcerated, unjustly incarcerated, whether we are wrong or not, more than anybody else in this world. So I would say stay on the up and up. And be, live with life with integrity. But even that ain't gonna guarantee you a life without having to deal with this. Because like I said, at the end of the day, not only can you be unjustly incarcerated for something you did not do, like in this case, but you can also be affected by this, whether you're incarcerated or not. And so my heart goes out to anybody that's dealing with this, that has dealt with it, that's made it through the other side. And right now in life, I'm just like focused on rebuilding and being strong enough to stand on my own 2 feet and being a support system for her so that when she does come home, she's granted grace, because her coming home is a whole nother process. The reacclimation to society is a whole nother process that even someone like her who has a house, who has a family, who has people who are waiting for her, is still going to be emotionally trying for her. That's going to be a next chapter for us. You know what I mean? Her trying to get back and rebuild her life and creating her new normal. So I'm trying to be a better support to her right now for that. And educate people and be there. And like I said, I couldn't stay silent for too long because I know that there are other people that are dealing with this, and we don't talk about this, even from this side. We hear the prison stories, but we don't hear about the people who are supporting, and we don't hear how it affects us in the community as a whole. So I hope this has helped somebody. I hope that this conversation helps us to be better as a society. Like, even if you work in the justice system, whether you're a judge or a prosecutor or you're on that side, remember that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's child. At the end of the day, that's somebody's family member, that's somebody's boss, that's a human being that you are trying to lock away and throw the key and use them as slaves, and just keep that in mind. Like, how would you want to be treated if that was you in these shoes? And it's made me feel like now there's another generational curse that I got to break, because there have been other people in my family that have been incarcerated as well. And I don't want my children to ever have to deal with this or feel this pain or this void or deal with anything like this ever. So I'm focused on just restructuring life and being, like I said, keeping my head above water and in the clear, so that I'm talking about I don't trust nobody no more after this. Okay. And when she come home, we're going to have a whole episode on trusting friends and how we can have you messed up. All right, y'all. Well, after every episode, at the end, you got to have a trap formation. And this trap formation, I had to, make it go with the conversation, because this is something I had to remind myself throughout it all. Everything I'm faced with, I conquer. The system, these circumstances, can't none of it break me. I'm stronger. We are more than the bars they build. We are the bridges that they can't break. The only thing that they can imprison is the body, but our minds and our souls, they can't take. And I have to remind her that all the time. Like, they can imprison your body, but they can't imprison your mind and your soul. So be free in your thoughts. Be free in the way that you think. Be free. Even me out here, I have to be free and let them know that they can't win by keeping me hostage. Okay. So that's this week's trap formation. And that's been another episode of Better with Brii Renee. Like I said, I hope this has helped you through, if you are dealing with something like this, to know that, one, you are not alone. You are not weird for any of the feelings that you are feeling, whether it's anger, grief, sadness, depression, anxiety, PTSD, worry, stress, whatever you are dealing with, financial issues. If you feel like you have to take on all the weight of the world of your family, everything that you're going through, there's somebody out there that has gone through it as well. If not anybody else, me, I have. And we gonna get better together. And I hope this helps you all. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a Better With Me or Better With Brii Renee episode. Of course, it's Better With Me, Better With Brii Renee on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Until next week. Oh yeah, go back and binge watch all the Mommy and Me episodes. Go show her some love and support. Leave comments, because I have been reading those comments to her. And she will see them when she comes home. She will be able to see them personally. And we're going to start back Mommy and Me on Mondays when she gets home. So don't worry. They can't break us. They might, we bend, but we don't break, baby. And we'll be back. Okay, with more episodes, so stay tuned. Oh yeah, and shop the merch. Better with Brii Renee. The merch is available now on BriiRenee.com. Of course, I'm using this to not only motivate myself, but I'm also, just helping keep money on the books, babe. We need it. We need it. Go ahead and support the studio. As you see, I have filmed every single episode of Better with Brii Renee inside of Visionary Production Studios. Got to give a huge shout out to Visionary Production Studios. You see, each episode, you looking at a different set in here. You're looking at something different, and we can help cultivate each space to bring your vision to life. So go ahead and book a tour, book your next podcast, content day, photo shoot, video shoot, whatever it is. Whatever your vision is, we can help bring it to life right here at Visionary Production Studios. Until next time, next Wednesday, same time, same place. I'll see you later on Better with Brii Renee.